Hello, everybody. Thank you for tuning in, and welcome back to
the marriage conversation
with we, the McDuffies. Like EJ said previously, if you haven't been listening and you just jumped into this one, thank you. But once you finish listening, go back and listen to the other episodes so you can get our why, our origin story, and learn a little bit about how we communicate. Okay?
Yeah, very important.
But to introduce ourselves, my name is Nakia McDuffie. I'm the wife.
EJ McDuffie, the husband, the father. Inside joke.
And we've been married for 2 years.
Yeah.
And we're just here to talk about marriage and take you all through our marriage experience as we learn and grow and make marriage sexy.
Yeah, for sure.
Because it is.
And we're not experts by any stretch of the imagination, but we just gonna give y'all the real, the raw, the uncut, and again, glean what you can, and things that you disagree with, keep that to yourself.
Right.
But if you do like what we're saying, like this video, comment, subscribe, all of that stuff. But
we're here to offer our unprofessional opinion.
Oh yeah, that's good. Very unprofessional.
Yeah, we're not professionals, but like I've said before, like your experiences can help somebody else. Your testimony, your story. So we're just here to share our story.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. So today,
EJ's favorite topic.
Yeah, it is.
Money.
I love talking about money.
Oh no.
Yeah, but I know.
Not even just money. I'm sorry, we're talking about
conversations to have before marriage.
Yeah, we'll have a whole episode dedicated to finance.
Oh yeah, we will. By far, probably 3 or 4 episodes. Not at the same time, but yeah, we'll have those.
EJ gonna break it down for y'all.
Yeah, but we will today be talking about finances because that's important. You don't want to start off a situationship or a marriage and you have no idea what the other person's financial house looks like. And so we're just gonna jump right into it with finances. And so,
but preface, let me say that these are conversations that we had before marriage. There's probably plenty other things that people will have, but it's important, the things that are key to you, that are your core memories or core ideals, like
beliefs, all of that.
Definitely you need to have those conversations. So if it's important to you, it's a conversation that you need to have before you get married or in a serious relationship with somebody, because you don't want to get into that and then you realize, ooh, this don't line up with who I am.
Yeah, and I think it's important, even if y'all getting hot and heavy and you think you love this person, like, don't settle on being with someone and these core values and these things that you really care about are not in place. Now, if they are negotiable and y'all come to some type of agreement, Nicole, do your thing, but don't leave something that you really care about off the table just because you call yourself to be in love, because what'll happen is that thing will come up later at a later date when the feeling of the whole I do and the proposal and it's just you and this person and this thing come back up. Now you like, man, I knew that I shouldn't have done that. You know what I'm saying? I said that I wanted 7 kids and this Negro don't want none. Like, those are conversations that you need to have.
He almost got me.
So let's jump into the first one. The first one being finances. So as Nakia said, you can already see my whole posture done changed. I get excited about finances and I get excited about talking about it because as Black people, sometimes we don't get the opportunity to be financial literate as it relates to like stocks, bonds, options. Sometimes we're the first person in our family to make what we say good money, you know what I'm saying? And so I think having that conversation up front with your spouse about how, you don't have to tell them how much money you make, but at least have a ballpark. Some people are very protective of that information.
If you're going to connect your life with somebody else, you need to tell them how much you make. Y'all need to discuss how y'all going to pay for stuff.
That's what I was getting into. Like you told me earlier, don't be cutting me off.
Yeah, but how much you make? If you,
Yeah, so I think how much you make should be on
tell
the
me,
table.
I'm gonna forget.
Yeah.
I'll remember the ballpark, but tell me.
Yeah, I think, and if, again, we talked about this in our last episode, but I think this is one of those honesty policy things where the person that you with should know how much money you make or about how much money you make, because that will allow you, like he was just kind of getting into, to say, all right, I make X amount of dollars, with X amount of dollars and your X amount of dollars, this is how much house we can afford. Mm-hmm. I got student loan debt, so this is how much of that money goes to student loan debt, mm-hmm. or child support, or I gotta send $50 a month back home to help my mama out with her light bill. Mm-hmm. Like, all of those things are important to have up front for the person who is making decisions on whether we want to spend the rest of our life together. Because like I was saying earlier, I would hate for you to be in a situation where you are hot and heavy, y'all 2 months from getting married, or y'all already got married and now y'all on the back end, and you find out that said person has a $700 student loan payment that gotta go out every month, or they $30,000-$40,000 in credit card debt because they made some bad decisions. And I'm not blaming anybody, but they made some bad decisions while they were in college or while they were a little bit younger and fiscally unresponsible. Right. And so I think that it's important to have those conversations up front about finances, even if it's embarrassing. Like, there are things that come up in finances and you're like, man, I know I look like I'm a big baller shot caller, but I only make, X amount of dollars, and so I'm living paycheck to paycheck. That is a conversation that the person that you're about to spend the rest of your life with needs to have before you decide to walk down the aisle. And so I'm gonna let Nakia talk because I'm getting all excited. And
because we're gonna be talking about finance the whole time. So I'm gonna end this segment with saying I think this is an important conversation to have because you'll know how to move forward. Now, the financial conversation may stop you from moving forward and getting deeper in your relationship, but I feel like it's more of a strategy to say, hey, this is where I am. Because once you get married, that debt becomes your debt. Yeah. And for example, before EJ and I even got married, after I had Harper, I didn't work for a month. So I got behind on some bills and got into some debt. And me and EJ had a conversation. It was like, hey, this is how much debt I'm in. EJ was like, well, how you gonna get out of it? What we gonna do? And he helped me come up with a plan to be able to get out of debt. And I finally paid those bills off. Hallelujah. Dang. So I think it's more of a strategy thing and not I got you. Yeah. Like, it's more of a strategy because when you come together, you're supposed to be a team. So we're going to work at this together. We're going to take this debt down, or we're going to pay these bills together. We're going to figure out how to get you out of this situation. Yeah. So it's more of a strategy more than a got you. So hopefully it's not an end all type thing. But if that's your non-negotiable, then hey.
One more thing though, because Nakia said she's going to cut me off. So in her example, like at the time, I didn't have disposable income. But now that we're a team, if I had disposable income, say I got an extra $300 in my paycheck every other week or something like that. Now as a teammate, I can help her pay off that debt quicker, and now we can move on to something else. Maybe we want to go on vacation. So. No, we weren't married. No, we weren't. But we still helped come up with a strategy and all of those types of things. But yeah, I think it's an important conversation to have.
And that'll help you figure out like how bills will be split if that's something you do, or if one person's going to pay all the bills and the other person's money's going to be used for something else. Because a lot of times EJ says it's not about equal giving, it's about equal sacrifice. Because I feel like it wouldn't be fair if one person's making $100,000 and the other person making 60 and y'all paying the same amount. Yeah, that's not a fair balance. So I think that's the conversation to have, and I think that's why you need to know how much the other person makes to say, okay, so you make this much, you make this much, I'll contribute 40% to bills and you'll contribute 60, or however it's divided, and so on and so forth.
Yeah. One last thing though, because again I keep getting passionate about this, but I'm gonna say this for real and I'm gonna be done. So I don't do this, or we don't do this, but I've heard of other couples doing this, where say, to her point about the $100,000 versus the $60,000. So one, we would live off the 100,000, and the 60,000 would be for like savings, or vice versa. We would live off the 60,000, and the $100,000 would be for savings and all of those types of things to kind of help you, one, get out of debt quicker if you have any debt, or to start investing in stocks and real estate, trucking, side hustle, businesses, or whatever it is. So again, that's not a strategy that we are currently using, but that is one that I've heard of other couples using in the past.
Yeah, and so now going to another conversation that you need to have before marriage.
Kid, why you
So we'll do
finance.
finance. Our next episode is going to be finances.
Probably, yeah, because
Okay.
again, I can talk about it forever.
Yes.
Maybe finances and real estate together. But go ahead, let's keep going.
Yes. So our next conversation is roles. So who's going to be doing what in the relationship? Who's going to cook? Who's going to clean? If both of y'all going to clean, what y'all going to clean? Who's going to take care of the kids?
Yeah.
Who's going to stay home with the kids if that's an option for your relationship?
Who's going to work? Who's not going to work?
Right. Who's going to take them to childcare? Who's going to pick them up? Like, those are conversations that need to be had at the beginning. But you do need to realize that those roles can and will shift and change throughout the relationship.
Depending on the day, the time, the
Exactly.
week, all of that.
Like in our relationship, I'm the cooker.
She the cooker, she the cleaner, she the child care provider, she the worker. What other things you said? She all of it. And I'm just sitting back, you know what I'm saying? Nah, I say this at work all the time. We have these roles, and I'm using air quotation marks, but they change all the time. The only one that Nakia probably does 100% of the time is cook. So there's times where I was the caregiver of Harper. Like, I didn't work, so I stayed home with Harper, you know? Or there's been times where Nakia didn't want to clean, so she asked me to clean. Or we both didn't clean and we hired a cleaning service, which again is okay to do. Like, you just have to set the roles and set the expectations for everybody up front so nobody comes into this thing blindsided.
Right. Because I feel like you just have to know, like, some people have a more traditional mindset, especially when it comes to heterosexual relationships, that the wife is supposed to clean and stay home with the kids and cook and stuff. And I know we're in 2022, but some people still have that, and if that's how your relationship runs, then that's okay.
Yeah.
And some people have, you know, different perspectives on relationships where the dad stays home and he takes care of the kids, or the husband cooks and cleans, or the wife may not be a good cook, so the husband cooks, or you hire a chef, or you hire a nanny.
Yeah.
But I think that's just conversations that need to be had, because if you're going to hire somebody, that ties back into finances.
Yeah. Who's going to be responsible for paying for the...
Exactly.
All of those types of things. Who's responsible for paying for the groceries? All of that. So, yeah, roles and responsibilities.
Yeah,
same thing that you would have at your job when they get...
What I got to do to get my paycheck.
Right. And then, as Nakia said, there's always that other duties as a side. It's the same thing in marriage. So.
I didn't know I was going to be just like that TikTok. It'd be like, what's one thing as an adult that you didn't know that you would spend majority of your time doing? And it'd be stuff like pulling apart underwear from the laundry because you want to take it off in one foul swoop. Not saying he does that.
No,
Our
I
child
don't do
does
that.
that.
Yeah.
But you know.
Yeah, I'm very... Whatever. We'll talk about that in another
Speaking
episode.
of children, family planning is important. This is something you need to discuss before you get married.
Yeah, probably even before you get engaged, honestly. And again, to your point about the last one, like, things can change, but I think you want to have these conversations.
Like, what do you have an idea in your mind?
Right.
Like, how many? Do you want to have kids? First of all.
Yeah.
Yes or no?
Yeah. Or do you have any outside kids? Like, whether you taking care of them or not.
Outside.
Or sorry, because they're not outside, but
You
do you
have
have
kids
kids
from a previous
relationship, and whether you take care of them or not, but do you have them, and what's your responsibility to those kids and to the mother or father of those kids?
What's
and to
the
family
dynamics with that?
Right. What's the family dynamics with that? Like, those are all important conversations to have.
Right, and you got to decide if you want to have kids, and if you do, how long are you going to wait to have kids? Are you going to have birth control? If you don't want to have kids, is somebody going to get a hysterectomy or a vasectomy? Like, that's conversations that need to be had. And if you do want to have kids, how many children do you plan to have? How close together do you want to have them? That's very important conversations. And then that goes into how you want to raise your children. Yeah. I don't think that's one conversation that we had because our first child was a surprise. Yeah, surprise. So I don't think that was a conversation that we had prior to getting married because we kind of just thrown into it. But for example, I decided by myself that I wanted to be a conscious / gentle parent. And, you know, I had to have that conversation with EJ while, you know, Harper was out here in the world just running around. So that wasn't the easiest. So I think that definitely would have gone better if we would have had the conversation before. But I didn't know about it beforehand. So yeah. I guess I get a little pass on that. Yeah. But definitely important to know how you want to raise them and things like that if you do plan to have children.
And I was going to add that you were saying something about how many kids and family dynamics. I don't know. I lost my point now. So yeah, just keep going.
Yeah. And then I think also just having conversations on, like we mentioned, if you have bonus children and, you know, bringing them to the relationship, what are going to be the dynamics in your role in that child's life as a bonus parent.
Yeah. Oh, that's what I was going to say too. And this is advice that I would give to anybody as it relates to that last piece that we just talked about. But specifically like around children, and this is advice for my ladies, don't go in, if your man or the person that you dating said that they don't want kids, and I guess I shouldn't say your man because this could be anybody, but if your partner says that they don't want kids, believe them, because you don't want to get into a situation where y'all married for 3 years and you was like, well, I know you say you didn't want none, but now I'm gonna try to change your mind. Like that's a bad situation to be in. And now it is a 50-50 split because the person could change, but you don't want to, again, like I was saying, you don't want to give up something that's on your non-negotiable list just because you think that they may change at a later date.
Yeah. And even if you want to have kids and you say you're okay, you have to be okay with the possibility that you may not have kids if that person doesn't want to have children.
Yeah. So, great point.
Yeah. And then family planning, I mean, sex.
Ooh.
EJ put that on the list.
Hey, look. Sex in a marriage is very, 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 very important. And I think, yeah, it is important. While it is a form of intimacy, it is not the only form of intimacy. But for me, and I'm just speaking for myself, I think that sex is a great way to connect. You know, again, I gotta be preachy, but the Bible talks about becoming one soul when you get married. And I think that's like a physical, like, visual of the two bodies becoming one. And so, for me, I think it's a conversation that you need to have before you get married. And again, this is a conversation that we did have, but as I get older, I realize that sex is not like what you see in the pornos and what you see in television and things like that, or what's depicted in Hollywood. Like, it's not planned, but in some relationships, you're not gonna have sex 4 or 5 times a week. Now, if that's what you need, again, express that. Right. Communicate that and express that with your partner so they know that, but also be willing to compromise and come to some form of agreement. Because you don't want to be with somebody who needs it 4 or 5 times a week and you like, man, I can go like 2 weeks without having sex and I'm straight. Because what that does is, for the person who does need a little bit more, it gives them an opportunity for their mind to wonder about, like, you know, what ifs and all of that, or they start seeking it from outside areas, and so you just want to be upfront and honest and have that communication or have that conversation a little bit sooner than later.
And then I feel like the sex conversation is an ongoing one. Because,
Yeah.
you know, I feel like you even got to talk about how you want to have sex. What do you like? What do you enjoy? What don't you like? And I feel like that conversation, likes or expectations may change as, you know, you grow in your relationship. So that's a constant conversation that you have to have in your relationship.
And I think I watched, what is it called? The Goop Lab or something on Netflix. And I learned a lot from watching that. I would suggest all couples, we didn't watch it as a couple, but I would suggest all couples look at that, and then they have tests around like what you like and how you want to be loved. And it's not like the 5 love languages, like this is as it relates to intimacy. And so I think it's important to look at that and have some conversations. Because I'll speak for myself, you know, guys, we think like as soon as we get into bed, like, man, we good to go. But nah, you gotta warm it up first, man.
When it's cold outside, you don't just pull off in your car.
Yeah.
Unless you're reckless.
Yeah, now unless you got an automatic start. But again, like I was saying, there's other forms of intimacy. So that automatic start is saying something nice before your wife get home or your partner get home. Or
ordering a duvet
cover or something like that. And so there's things that you can do to get the engine warmed up, but you just can't go up in there on a -9 day and think you about to start the car and just drive off. Nah, you gotta defrost.
Too deep into the all right. You should get deep into each topic.
What you supposed to do? Just give it to them quick.
You gotta give them the surface level.
Okay.
Man. You're gonna turn it into a sex podcast.
Okay, my bad. All right, let's move on to the next topic.
Have the conversation. Talk about the sex. How you frequency and how you like it.
No, I'm talking about the conversation. You gotta have that often too.
Yeah, but talk about how much you want to have it and how you like it.
Point blank. Period.
And that's on God. All right, religion.
Bum bum bum.
I think that's a very important conversation, especially I think when it ties into family planning, like how you want your children to be raised.
Yeah.
And then also, if you all are different religions, are you able to live with each other and respect each other's religion and be okay with that?
Yeah. What y'all gonna do with these kids though on Sundays or Saturdays or whatever day you go to your prospective place of worship?
Are you gonna let them choose? I think that's an important conversation to have, especially for EJ and I. We're Christian and we believe in Jesus. So, you know, for us, we go to church on Sundays. We participate in church events throughout the week. And that's how we are raising Harper. Now, if she chooses once she's out of the house or gets older to go a different way,
she gonna love the Lord.
That's on her. But, you know.
That's for me and my house.
And that's on that.
Yeah. No, I think it's important. I don't even have too much to add to that. Just had a conversation. And if y'all decide to do this thing unequally yoked, then just be prepared for all of the other decisions that come with you all being unequally yoked. So
yeah, and also there may be a conversation of somebody converting to the other religion. That's a possibility as well.
Yeah.
And last thing that we have on our list is discussing your family history, you know, medical history with mental and physical health, because I think that's very important. And prime example I have is I have the sickle cell trait. So if EJ had it, there would have been a possibility that Harper would have sickle cell disease. And I remember the doctor kept telling him to go get tested.
Yeah, they kept asking me. I told him no. I know my history. I don't think I ever got tested either.
He didn't.
Yeah, and they want me to get the flu shot. No.
That has nothing to do with it.
I know. I'm just being silly.
But it's important, especially if you want to have children. It's important to know like your family history, so potential diseases that could be passed down or mental health issues that affect your family that could be passed down, or just even if you have those things, you need to discuss that with your spouse. So if you have high cholesterol, high blood pressure, if you have heart disease, if you have cancer, like if there's
disease,
something going on with you, that's definitely a conversation you need to have, because then you need to have like, okay, care plan. Right. Like what's going to happen if this illness decides to take over my body, or if I can't function fully. Are you willing to be there to support that person through this sickness, through this illness, or whatever ailment they're dealing with, you know?
Yeah. And I think two things. So if it's you who has an ailment, like, I think being upfront and being honest with your partner will allow you all to have that conversation. And I know, I don't know, but I can only imagine how tough it could be, you know, to have that conversation, especially with someone that you're just seriously dating with. But I think it's important to have that conversation because, like Nakia said, you have to have like a care plan, or you even got to give that person, your partner, an opportunity to say, this is more than I want to take on. And I know that's a tough, hard conversation to have, but that person also has a right to know, versus you keeping it in and keeping it bottled up until after you all walk down the aisle. And now, like she said earlier, it's like, oh, I got you, so now you can't go anywhere. Like you got to stay here. But the other piece that I was gonna say was also, as it relates to the medical and family history, is like some of the things that could be passed on to children, and especially in the Black community. Like, there's certain things that we're just higher prone to, like the heart disease and the cholesterol, high cholesterol and blood pressure and things like that. And this is kind of tied to it, but not tied to it. Like, Nakia and I are on our health journey because we've seen things in our family, and some of our family members are predisposed to certain ailments, and that's not something that we want for ourselves. And so again, that's another conversation that you probably should have, is like, well, if you are on XYZ medication, like, what's your plan to get healthy, or eating healthy, or working out, or like, what's your regimen? And so
if it's something you can prevent,
right.
Like it also sets an example for, you know, if you have children, the children in your house, because Harper sees us work out all the time, and sometimes she'll start busting out a workout in the middle of the living room.
Just doing random push-ups.
Yeah,
random push-ups. So yeah, I mean, I know we gave y'all a lot of information this time, but again, I think these 5 or 6 topics are by no means an exhausted list of the conversations that you should have or that you could have, but I think that these are definitely some great starting points for any relationship, whether you married, single, seriously dating. You know, it's never too soon to have these types of conversations.
Yeah. So drop down in the comments below, like, what are some conversations that you feel like are important to have, you know, before taking a big step forward in a relationship, or even getting in a relationship with somebody. You know, let us know if there's anything that we didn't include in our list. So I just hope that this helped you all out and get some conversations started in your relationship, and you can hopefully move forward with your partner to bigger and better things.
Yeah, for sure. So like I always say, please comment, like, subscribe, follow, do all of those things. And we out. We'll catch y'all next time.
Bye.
Bye.